Okay, a few days ago I was just gold fishing with Edgar, just going through the draws, and I realized I made some serious mistakes when I first set up his mana base that weren't apparent until I was just playing around, seeing what I would draw. And in my opening hand, one of the opening hands were Cabal Coffers and Bonner's Enclave. Okay, nice, but definitely not that useful. After mulliganing, so in my commander group, what we do is we still use the mulligan, where you choose whatever cards you don't want in your hand, set them aside, and draw that number of cards, and then shuffle whatever you didn't want back in. So for example, you draw 7, so I drew 7, saw these as my lands, put 4 back, put 4 aside, draw 4 cards, and then those other 4 get shuffled back in. Well, in the next 4 I drew, I got Phyrexian Tower. So, opening hand, Phyrexian Tower, Bonner's Enclave, Cabal Coffers. I'm not going to do anything for a while, because Edgar Markov, he should be a black-red-white deck, right? No, he's a black deck with a little splash of red and a little splash of white. He's pretty much a black deck. So that wouldn't do anything, that wouldn't do anything, that wouldn't do anything. And I kept going just to see what would happen. And it was 4 turns, would have been 4 turns before I got any mana. 4 turns without any mana in a real game, and I'm dead. I'm sunk. Hard to recover from that, even with Edgar. So let's just take a look at what his mana base is. So colorless sources, that's not even a mana source. That's only good with swamps or herb. That might as well be an enchantment that I can only play if I don't play any other enchantments. Okay, so those are the colorless sources. And then for red-white, so I've got filter, pain, shock, duel, fetch. Same for black-white, fetch, duel, shock, pain, filter. Red-black, same thing. So the multicolor cards are the cards that can produce mana of any color, any of his 3 colors. So Command Tower, great. Path of Ancestry, very nice. It comes into play tapped, and I'm trying to reduce the number of come into play tap lands that I play in any of my decks. Trying to make them a bit faster, more on curve. So I've got 3 lands that can produce mana of any of his 3 colors. For black, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sources of pure black. Of course, this makes everything else a source of black too, but let's not count that. And I have 4 sources each of pure red, pure white. So what do I do with this? What's missing? In some of the gold fishing, I realized that Bonner's Enclave, as nice as it would work in Edgar, as good as it is, I don't want to do it. There just weren't that many times, and again, when you're gold fishing, you don't have an opponent. You don't have anybody actively screwing with your game plan. So it kind of skews the results. It's just to see how things flow, see if there's any problems in your mana base and in the assumptions you had when you first set up the deck before you get into a live game. I'm not sure if I want this because as I was playing, I just kept wanting to cast vampires. The deck has 39 vampires, 40 including Edgar. That's a lot. And I wanted to cast them, so I didn't want to spend a mana to draw a card. I wanted to get threats on the table. So that might come out. These Phyrexian Tower, I'm going to be generating a lot of tokens, and this lets me use them if I need to push myself up, if I need another black. High market, this is good. In just the game I played most recently. It saved one of my creatures from getting exiled. Somebody tried to target my Oran Frostring, and I decided, yeah, I'd rather have him in the graveyard so I can get him back. So he went to the high market instead of into exile. And of course, Volra Stronghold, just very useful in all my black decks. So this mana base, this part of it is going to stay. This is questionable. Cabal Coffers will stay. So let's look at what I can take out. So Bonder's Enclave might come out. All of these produce black and red. Or, in the case of the Mire, they go get me black and red. But not really. That doesn't produce black and red, that only filters black and red. And in the game I just described, the gold fishing I just described, if I had opened up with the filter land, that would have given me a full sense of security, because unless I get that black or red, I can't filter it. It produces colorless. It stalls me. So I'm going to take out the filter lands. I'm going to keep the other black-red lands. White-black, same thing. I'm going to take out the filter land because initially it only produces colorless, and I need up my sources of pure color. Red-white. Given that I've already specified Edgar as a black deck with a little splash of white, a little splash of red, I really don't need the red-white as much. I need things that produce black. So Arid Mesa, that will stay. Plateau, it's searchable. If I need it, I can find it. Same with the Foundry. But the Plateau might be enough. One of the reasons I set it up like this is I like having the cycle. It feels good to have the 3 shock lands, the 3 pain lands. But I don't really need it, do I? Let's take out Battlefield Forge, take out Rugged Prairie. I might end up taking out Sacred Foundry, but it would probably make more sense to take out a basic Plains or a basic Mountain. That's still something I'm working around. So let's leave these 3 in. So these 4 are definitely coming out. And I've already made some choices about what to put in. Let me show you some of the ideas. I thought about City of Shadows. I can keep sacrificing a token, and each turn it would get 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. So after 4 turns, I would have a land that produces 4 colorless mana, but at the cost of the tokens. And I want to use them to attack. I want to use them for other abilities, and I don't really need the colorless mana. So City of Shadows was under consideration, but it's not going in. Dragon Skull Summit. Okay, this is going in because it produces black or red, and the only real downside is the possibility it will come into play tapped. But if this is the first land I draw, let's say I draw Dragon Skull Summit, Volra Stronghold, and Phyrexian Tower, I can still get started. With Bonder's Enclave, I could not get started. So Dragon Skull Summit will go in. Isolated Chapel, that will go in for the same reason. It gets me started. City of Brass, kind of a toss-up between City of Brass and Opal Palace. City of Brass, of course, is completely reliable, always produces that color. Opal Palace, I have to spend 1 to get the color, but that shouldn't be a problem, and Edgar will come into play bigger. So I'm thinking this is the right choice. So that's 4 for 4. If I took out Bonder's Enclave, and I thought about Reflecting Pool, but the problem isn't getting the color of mana specifically, having enough of a color. The problem is getting the color in the first place. So Reflecting Pool, I don't think I will put it in here after all. City of Brass. So to get the City of Brass, I took it out of Edgar, and I give her and Sidra Kondo a Rainbow Veil. Rainbow Veil, of course, the downside is, no, that's in the other box, so I can't show it to you without turning off the camera. Rainbow Veil taps for 1 mana of any color. It's from Fallen Empires. At the end of the turn, you pass it to an opponent if he tapped it for mana. So what you can do is make a deal. Let's say this was Rainbow Veil, just for illustration purposes. So you can make a deal with another player, somebody else who's screwed for mana, doesn't have enough, doesn't have the right color, and you can say, hey man, if I tap the Rainbow Veil on my turn and send it to you at the end of it, will you tap it on your turn for mana and give it back to me? And if he agrees, great, golden. The problem is that's one possibility. The other possibility is that they will see perhaps you need the Rainbow Veil, you need to have it, and they'll either just sit on it because you have to tap it for mana, give it to somebody, and nobody would make a deal with you, or they'll pass it to anybody else, not you. If I need to cast, if I need 1 more mana to cast Edgar, for example, and I need that Rainbow Veil back to do it, my opponents are just going to sit on it to slow me down, to keep Edgar off the board. Edgar and Sidra Kondo being a less threatening deck, it's not that much of a consideration, so I gave it to them. Their theme is toughness matters, so a bunch of 2/5s, a bunch of 2/4s, 1/3s is not threatening. A bunch of vampires, yeah, that scares people. Do I want to take out City Brass now for Bonder's Enclave? I think after making these changes, I'll see how it plays and then decide from there. The other thing I wanted to do is, so this produces white-red, it's a cheap mana rock, replace with a Chromatic Lantern, so that further fixes my mana. I did have Lantern in before because I wanted the cheaper rocks. Let's put it in now. And also I decided I wanted to take out, or not wanted to, but willing to take out Fiend of Shadows in favor of a Ghetto Teferi's Protection. So, Eerie Interlude, Ghetto Teferi's Protection. Exile any number of target creatures you control. Return them to play at the end of the beginning of the next end step. So somebody casts Wrath, somebody exiles other creature, somebody does some bullshit. Okay, all my creatures are going away for a little while, and they'll come back when this bullshit is over. Problem is what to take out. Edgar is pretty tight when it comes to the actual cards. Fiend of the Shadows is the, well, it's not really low-hanging fruit, but the card I can most afford to lose. So she costs 5 for a 3/3 flyer. Those are not great stats, not anymore. Sacrifice a human. I don't have any humans in the deck, so I'm not going to be able to do that. And whenever she deals combat damage to a player, they exile a card from their hand, and I may play that card. Well, they're going to exile something that doesn't matter to me. They're going to give me the least bad outcome for them. So, some land, and unless it's black, red, or white, I won't be able to really get much value out of it. Oh good, I have something else that produces colorless in effect. They'll give me some small creature that doesn't matter. They get to choose, and that's kind of the problem. And also, I may play that card, so it doesn't say I can spend mana or mana of any color, as so many of these effects nowadays do. Therefore, unless the card they give me is black, red, or white, or some artifact or land, I can't cast it anyway. If I'm going up against a green-blue deck, they give me something green or blue, okay, yeah, I'd love to cast this creature, but I just can't. So I'm going to take her out to put in this eerie interlude and see how it goes. See if it protects me. But anyway, those are the changes to Edgar make to tighten up the mana base, make it more consistent and reliable, get away from problem. And yes, it is a corner case where the first 3 lands I draw all produce colorless, and I don't draw another land for 4 turns. But now that I've seen that is a possibility, I must account for it, and I must make adjustments to the deck so I don't get stuck like that in a real game and become dead in the water. If you're dead in the water with a deck that doesn't have a threatening commander, that's fine. You're probably going to be okay. You go dead in the water with a deck like Edgar, where everybody knows as soon as you get online, you're going to start killing people, and they're like, wow, we can go after him for free. And they will. And you'll die. Alright. That's it for now. Cheers.